If I could use a break from all this effort, I would be complaining I'll call you every day or staying up all night just thinking about you. Wait, you know you got me. Doesn't mean I'm good without knowing you feel the same, but you keep it all inside.
What's up, Fredonia? You're listening to the Local Lowdown on WCVF 88.9 The Voice and WDVL 89.5 The Inferno. My name's Olivia. I'm your co-host, and I'm your field interview lead.
Hi, I'm Elena. I'm your other co-host and our lead and executive producer.
Hey, I'm Dylan. I'm your production lead.
Awesome. Well, tonight's episode is brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems in a group effort to promote and showcase the local scene here in Fredonia, as well as Western New York at large. Welcome to the Local Lowdown.
On this episode, we have our guest for this week, Miranda Wilcox. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi.
Could you introduce yourself and how you got your start in music?
Yeah, hi. I'm Miranda Wilcox. I'm a freshman at SUNY Fredonia in music education, voice. I started playing guitar age 12, piano age 7, and I got a little more serious with my instrumentation probably around the age of 14. Been singing my entire life. My family is all musical, so that had a lot to do with it as well. I've always wanted to songwrite, so I probably wrote my first form of a song at a younger age, like 7, and then I started getting serious with it around 13. So I've probably written 100 songs, and I also started performing out in the Western New York, Northern PA area around age 16.
Nice.
Cool. What kind of music did you grow up listening to?
A little bit of everything, but definitely mostly 80s hair bands.
Oh, nice.
And it reigns true still to this day. That's my top listening on Spotify, I think, is Def Leppard right now. So
Nice.
I love that.
yeah, me too.
You said you grew up in a musical family. Are they kind of your main inspiration in how you got started in music, really?
Absolutely. My mom has an amazing musical ear, and I luckily picked up a lot of that from her. My dad is a spectacular guitarist. My brother has a beautiful voice. Same with my sister, and she's a guitarist as well with some great music taste. So absolutely, every song I write and everything I listen to brings me back to them in some way.
Nice. And what inspired you to eventually get on stage and perform that way?
Well, I used to take lessons at a place called Infinity when I was younger, and they were big on pushing us kids into performing. So the few times they got me on stage in their facility, I just really fell in love with it. You know, I loved performing, and I loved playing piano and singing and sharing my original music. So one day I was just like, you know what? I would love to do this regularly. And I told my mentors that. I told my parents that. And they helped me get my first gig at a place called Wicked Warrens when I was 16.
Nice. What was that like, that first performance?
It was exhilarating. My best friends went and supported me. It was really fun. I had short blonde hair at the time. I had these little cute pigtails in. And I just like randomly threw together this 3-hour-long set because I was
3
like,
hours?
whoa. Yeah. Because,
Jeez.
you know, everything I had done before them is like 45 minutes tops, you know, so
right.
like 6 songs-ish. And then you go from that to 33 songs in a 3-hour set. So I was like, okay. And I pulled up my phone. I had it all written down. I had all the chords written down. And I was like, all right, we're going to do this. It was something I just kind of threw myself into. And after that first one, I loved it so much.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear.
That's really impressive. 3 hours.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Your first release was not under the name Miranda Wilcox.
No.
It was under Len Rose.
Yes.
What inspired the name as well as the album released under Len Rose?
Yeah, so my full name is Miranda Rose Helen Wilcox. So I took Helen Rose.
All of us are middle
Rose.
named Rose.
Really?
Yes.
That's the funniest thing ever. Yeah, I love roses. They're just like, I really identify with that flower. So I took the last bit of Helen and Rose, Len Rose. It was just a little alias I created because that album that I put out under that was very experimental. Like, if you ever listen to that, it sounds nothing like what I do now. It's not very good quality, but that's why I keep it up, and that's why I still have it available to listen to, because it just is another page in the book. You know, it shows like how I started when I was 14 producing music, and now what I like to do and what I can do in the genres I perform with now. There's a huge difference in arc. So that's why I keep it up. And the reason I put it under the alias Len Rose is because I just wasn't ready for my real name to be under such experimental music.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm glad I did that.
Yeah. Do you feel like you took on any of those different aspects from the first album and still like bring it into your music today?
In a certain way, yeah, because one of my inspirations that I also grew up listening to was like Ariana Grande and Sabrina Carpenter. I love their like pop vibe and like really layered harmonies. I've always loved harmonies. And that was definitely something I experimented a lot with when I was writing Len Rose. And I still use that in a lot of my songs. Like I know my song Tell Me Why, that's on my latest album, Black Eyeliner, in a way sounds a lot like Must Say from the Len Rose album, but it's just a lot better quality, better put together, better mixing, better production. So it's funny.
Yeah, I remember listening. I listened through all of your current stuff first and then found that other account. And I listened, the first song on that EP, I remember hearing like all of the harmony stacking. Still super impressive. It sounds super cool.
Well,
but I
was
understand
young.
the progression.
Absolutely. I was young. I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't understand anything about music theory. I was just like sitting in my room on my iPad like, okay, let me put these random vocals over each other, see how it sounds. So it's really funny to listen back to.
Yeah.
Well, moving forward a little bit, after that, you had released an EP called Coming Back in 2023. And a quote about the release, I've spent a lot of time trying to make this EP authentic to me and enjoyable for you, as in the fans. How do you feel about the album now that it's been out for well over a year now?
I feel it's like it's another page in the book. You know what I mean? The thing that's really cool about Coming Back is that the vast majority of it, I think it's a 5-song EP, and the vast majority of it is acoustic, voice and guitar, and that's it. And obviously now, with some of my later releases, I experiment with more software instruments and just other instruments in general. So I think it's really cool to see all those stripped versions of songs and ones that I wrote when I was 16, and then move on and see ones that are a little bit more involved. Sorry, I don't remember what you had asked originally.
No, just how do you feel about the album looking back at it now after it's been out for a little while?
Oh, yeah. I'm quite proud of it, and I'm proud to look back and see my progression again with the mixing, because that's a whole other side of it. A lot of people write, but they don't produce themselves, and that's something I love to do, is be able to produce myself and, you know, record my own music and do it the way that I want it and have reign over it. So I think it's really cool to look back on it and see how I felt at the time, you know, what 16-year-old me was doing with that release and how I would handle it now.
Right.
It must be so cool to look back. It's like a glimpse into your brain back then.
Right.
It is. It's so interesting, because I'm like, I'll listen to something old and I'm like, why did I do that? I should have done this. You know what I mean? I have a lot of thoughts sometimes that I would love to go back and take some of those songs from Coming Back and re-record them and remaster them and just see how they come off now. Because even in, for example, Lost and Found on Coming Back, the way I sing it on the record is so different from how I perform it now. I have so many different like embellishments going on and guitar solos and things. Like, there's just a huge difference, and it's really cool because that's 16-year-old me and 18-year-old me, like in different places. So I found that interesting.
Yeah.
Do you often perform a lot of your songs before they actually are fully released, or do you kind of save them and then we hear them as audience members after?
I like to play everything I've written. I mean, you know, I write a lot of songs for fun, randomly, and sometimes I'm at a show and I'm, you know what, I'm feeling this song that I've never showed anybody before, and I just kind of sit and play it, and nobody's heard it, and it's not out anywhere, but, you know, that particular audience, I'm like, you know what, I feel comfortable, I'm going to play this song, nobody's heard it, I don't even know how it is, let's see, and it's cool. That's what's nice about original music, is just being able to express yourself in that way to your degree of comfort.
Absolutely. And I wanted to also talk about the title track to the EP, Coming Back. What inspired that song itself, and what inspired it to become the title track?
So I remember when I was writing that song, because I have it on that album, EP, I have that song, and then I have an acoustic version of that song. Mm-hmm. So when I wrote the original song, I was kind of going through a phase of 90s R&B. My mom and I were going through a phase of 90s R&B. It's all we listened to. Mm-hmm. And so I was experimenting with synth and that sort of drum beat, and that's kind of what just came off just randomly one day. I was like, all right, cool. I showed my mom. She was like, you should make an acoustic version. I was like, all right, cool. I'll make an EP. And then I was sitting here thinking about the name of the EP. It was originally going to be Recognize Me. That was going to be the name of the EP. And I knew I wanted it to be 2 words, and I knew that I wanted it to kind of allude to it being my first album since Len Rose.
Right.
So it was going to be like Recognize Me. But
oh, nice.
yeah, but then I like Googled, I was like, okay, what are EP names normally based off of? And it was like, hey, well, sometimes you take a name from the track and make it the title of the EP. And I was like, well, since I have 2 versions of Coming Back on this EP, and Coming Back sounds like I'm coming back, so I just named it Coming Back.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
So coming forward to your most recent release, which is an album, Black Eyeliner, which you mentioned earlier. This came out in 2024, and as of all your releases, it was self-recorded. You said that you formed a love of production while making this album. What was the process like this time around?
It was so involved. So, for anyone who's a sound geek, I started recording on GarageBand on my iPad. That's what Len Rose was. And then Coming Back was also recorded on GarageBand, but on my Mac. So that's what Coming Back was. And then once I got to Black Eyeliner, I was like, let me step it up. And I bought Logic Pro X. And I was like, all right, let's do this. I watched so many YouTube videos trying to learn how to do it. You know, I learned as much as I could about production on a better platform, a better program like that. And so the process became very involved because I have all these new tools and resources to use. Yeah. And I knew that something I definitely wanted to experiment was genre. So, you know, there's a jazz track on that album, there's a rock track on that album, there's some acoustic, there's some pop. So now that I had all of these resources, I was like, all right, let me just throw it all in and make it the best I can. Yeah. And so it was a very involved process and a very huge learning curve for me as well.
If you could give your past self any advice on this album, what would it be? Would you have changed anything?
I think it would have been to look into the mastering process a little deeper. That was something I really rushed. I recorded and mixed it the way that I wanted it to. But the thing about mastering from Logic to, you know, the distributor to Spotify is they really mess with the levels, you know, because you can't, you can't like put something out and then like you're listening to one song that's by a professional artist and then it goes to my song and suddenly it's like, you know?
Yeah.
So that was something that I rushed because I didn't think about it at the time and I knew that I had a set date I wanted to release it. So I would have told myself like, hey, look into the mastering process, make sure you're doing it right, because there's also a few tracks on that album, which I won't say because I don't want anyone to point it out, but there's a few tracks on that album that I think sound awful compared to how I originally mixed them. But because of the mastering process, that's how they came out, and I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
That even happens through radio, like how we're recording now and how it ends up editing. It's edited that it's so much louder because even into YouTube, if you're watching this now, it compresses so much into YouTube as well.
Exactly.
It was a crazy learning curve for that.
It's so tough.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
Yeah, you said as well that you had very different genres throughout the whole album. Was there a favorite one that you had in terms of like mixing and mastering it too?
So, not really, but there was one that I had a definite love-hate relationship with, and that was Envy. That was the rock track. That was a little bit of a challenge for me because it's just completely different from most of the things that I write and record. And I did not realize how different the process was recording metal and rock sounds compared to acoustic or pop. I don't know how I didn't realize that, but I didn't. So that was weeks and weeks of, oh my gosh, how am I going to finish this? How is this going to be mixed well? But it ended up being my favorite track on the album.
I love that one too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, switching it up a little bit. So it's already been mentioned that you are a student here. You're also very much a performer. You have a lot of gigs. Do you have any advice for students that are also wanting to do what you do and be a performer as well and balance all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. You should absolutely start a Facebook account. I know a lot of people Gen Zers don't like to go on Facebook and they don't know how it works. I'm one of them. I don't know how Facebook works. I don't really understand that. But, all the venues, all the companies are on Facebook. It's really important to be there. And it's really important to go to actual venues that do music, bars, restaurants, like all the places, and watch their live music sets, like who they bring in, get some cards and slip them your card. Like, those are really good ways to start out because that really solidifies you and starts to build you a reputation, which I think is the most important part of becoming a reputable live musician.
Yeah. Also, with the cards you mentioned, I feel like having something physical sets you apart from the rest. Whether that's like, I request to follow somebody on Instagram because I want to play with them or play at one of their gigs. But if I can give them a physical card, they have it with them at all times. Yeah. So
yeah, that's literally how we met.
That is
that was
literally how it worked. Yeah,
I was walking through the C-store randomly. I'd had this random moment. I was like, I really want an energy shot. I've never had an energy shot before. I was like, I wonder if they have them. And I walked in and I heard you say like, yeah, so now I got to find a live music act. And I was like, hold on.
What did you say?
Wait a second.
Yeah.
So it works, I guess.
Yeah. Real proof.
This one's a little bit of a alluding to the set that's going to happen, but you are not shy with performing covers as well as with your original music. What are some of your favorite songs to cover?
Ooh, I said this in the music. I like to play Fleetwood Mac. It always goes over well. I feel like people from our generation like that, older generations like that. Everyone loves Fleetwood Mac. I play Rhiannon, Dreams, and The Chain by them. And
Fair.
it's just, I don't normally cover female voices, interestingly enough. So it's kind of nice and relaxing to be like, all right, I know this is in my range and I can sing it. This is great.
Yeah.
It goes over well. It's really fun. And I find Fleetwood Mac to just be timeless.
Yeah.
So I love those songs. There's this Eric Clapton one I do that I really like. And then sometimes I'll take like a random Selena Gomez song, like Same Old Love.
Oh, nice.
I do that one and I make it acoustic and I just kind of play it.
Yeah.
So anything that I can, first of all, please at least one person in the room with or make my own, that's what I like to cover.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you have any dream collaborations? Like, if you could record with this person or group, who would it be?
Ariana Grande.
Fair.
I think she's spectacular. I think that she's trained excellently. I think she's spectacular, and she's been a huge inspiration of mine growing up as far as vocals, because I really respect her ethic.
Yeah, I love seeing those clips of her where she's, like, mixing and mastering everything herself.
Yes.
When she gets into, like, Imogen Heap, and she's got, like, her own gloves that she can, sort everything out with live.
She's great.
She's so cool.
She's great. She's smart and she's mature and she writes her own music most of the time, unlike a lot of artists nowadays.
Yeah.
So I think she's great and I think she's extremely talented.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've talked a lot. Let's go into our music set. Take it away.
All right, this first one is off of my album, Black Eyeliner. It's kind of an acoustic version of the song, which is a little more poppy and produced. This is Away. If I could use a break from all this effort, I would be complaining, not calling you every day or staying up all night just thinking about you. Wait, you got me, doesn't mean I'm good without knowing you feel the same, but you keep it all inside. I'm not the type to buy your time, but I need some peace of mind. I got you, babe, infatuation, feeling that mutual admiration. You're the only place I can keep from phasing out. And you got me written all over your face. I'm the reason that you stay in your picture perfect way when you're away. I'm sick and tired of waiting. You know I'm the one, but you never say that's it. What are you hiding from? Just quit, don't need impressing. Little bit of your heart is all I'm asking for.
don't you love the truth? You know I'm not the type to buy your time, but I need some peace of mind. I got you, babe, infatuation, feeling that mutual admiration. You're the only place I can keep from phasing out. And you got me written all over your face. I'm the reason that you stay in your picture perfect way. When you're away, I'm looking for light, can't read your mind. Gotta give me a sign. I'm going nowhere without you. Why hold it in? I already know. Infatuation. I'm out. Da-da-da-da. Oh, your picture perfect way when you're away.
All right, this one is called Envy. I wrote it originally as a rock song, but my mom loves acoustic versions, so I figured I'd do an acoustic version of it. I hold what I'm given. I told you how I feel. It's not me who lost the rhythm, just you who broke a deal. I don't know how I got here, don't know what I'm supposed to say. All I know is I'm real good at following the way. Don't hate me for what I made myself. I paid my dues too. Why criticize what I had to find? You have it in you. What I got doesn't steal away what's waiting for you. Half my joy is sparked by others, half my wealth from the same. This image of mine you're chasing after, you'll never catch. I know the press consider my philosophy. I don't know how I got here, don't know what I'm supposed to say. All I know is I'm real good at following the way. Don't hate me for what I made myself. I paid my dues too. Why criticize what I had to find? You have it in you. What I got doesn't steal away what's waiting for you. You're everything without me. I'm everything alone. We can both prosper, no envy. You can't lead on jealousy. Gotta pave your own road. Don't hate me for what I made myself. I paid my dues too. Why criticize what I had to find? You have it in you. What I got doesn't steal away. What I got doesn't steal away. What I got doesn't steal away what's waiting for you. All right, this next one is by one of my favorite bands, Fleetwood Mac. This is Rhiannon.
Rhiannon rings like a bell through the night, and wouldn't you love to love her? She rules her life like a bird in flight, and who will be her lover? All your life you've never seen a woman taken by the wind. Would you stay if she promised you heaven? Will you ever win? She's like a cat in the dark, and then she is the darkness. She rules her life like a fine skylark, and when the sky is starless. All your life you've never seen a woman taken by the wind. Would you stay if she promised you heaven? Will you ever win? Will you ever win? Rhiannon, 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 Rhiannon. She rings like a bell through the night, and wouldn't you love to love her? She rules her life like a bird in flight, and who will be her lover? All your life you've never seen a woman taken by the wind. Would you stay if she promised you heaven? Will you ever win? Will you ever win? Rhiannon, 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 Rhiannon. Taken by the sky. Taken by the sky. Taken by the sky. Dreams unwind and love's a state of mind. Dreams unwind and love's a state of mind. Dreams unwind and love's a state of mind. All right, here's another one of mine. This is called It Burns. You whisper, I know that I am gone. You're screaming, I hope that I'm gone. Your story is pointless to me. here knocking. She wants to come in, but you lock it, lock your mind from within. Your story's pointless to her. I'll stay where it burns, where it burns. You're listening, I know, but not really. Absorbing the world before you. Your story's pointless to me. Afraid, but I don't want to jump to conclusions. I don't want to get lost again. Guess I'll stay. I never knew I'd have to fight it. Always thought it'd come easy. Baby, you're the one I'll have to fight for until it burns. Till it burns. Thank you. All right, here's another one of mine. I wrote this when I was 16, and since then I've pretty much played it every single time I perform because it just means a lot to me. Represents a very pivotal point in my life. It's called Lost and Found. Well, I'm alone, at least I'm not so with you. I'm moving forward without having a clue. Life's kind of fun when you're not stuck in your room. I guess the universe had something to say. Hating the player and I'm hating the game. Well, you're not helping, baby, you're just insane. You had me wrapped around your finger. No damn clue I stayed there. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm headed somewhere. Call me lost and found. Lost and found. But how you looked at me made me go insane. A different planet, yeah, the orbit just changed. You understand me and we like the same things. Well, I'm not walking down that tightrope no more. You're such a gentleman, you opened the door. You're so much different than that low life boy. Now you found me and I feel seen. You really got me. Don't forget me. Now you found me, and I feel seen. You really got me. Don't forget me. Now you have me right around your finger. No clue how I got here. This type of love like no other. Don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm headed. Don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm headed some. Show me where I'm going, now I know I'm headed somewhere. Call me lost and found.
Thank you so much for the performance. Loved it, as always.
Oh, thank
Super
you.
good. Yeah, and we have some more questions for you, just the second set. And to start off, you had mentioned earlier that instrumental-wise, you played guitar and piano, and you've also started to incorporate different instruments into your music, especially with you doing music ed and learning like secondary instruments and stuff like that. Are you starting to learn any instruments that you want to start incorporating into your music that maybe you haven't yet?
You know, I haven't started, but I really want my secondary instrument to be saxophone. And I've been falling in love with jazz recently, and I would love to include that a little bit. We'll see what I can do with that. I've never been good at wind instruments, but I started learning drums over the summer.
Nice.
I've been loving that. I play drums in one of my classes, and so I play guitar, piano, bass, and drums, some ukulele, of course. But yeah, if I could incorporate some wind instruments, saxophone specifically, into my music, I would just love that.
Mm-hmm. Would you ever consider putting in any string instruments?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
violin or something.
Hey.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you play?
Oh, wait, I actually
Wait,
play the
don't you?
violin.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Whoa.
Anyways. But yes, that's awesome. Gotta love the saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love.
Yeah, seriously, I'll stay tuned. I'll wait
Yes.
for
yeah.
it.
Oh, I'd love to. Well, you know what else is kind of funny? With Logic Pro, and I have all these software instrument plugins, I can choose from. I mean, you know how it is, like a million different fake instruments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I click that saxophone, and then I have a nice big MIDI with a pitch bender. So I've done like some trumpet, wind instruments, and I'm just like adjusting the volume and the pitch bending and playing it, and I've gotten pretty good at making fake wind instruments sound real.
Okay.
So that's something you'll find
Okay.
here and there in my music as
Yeah.
well.
I love that.
Little MIDI trumpet.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Straight from the board.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to shift it a little bit. I was curious, how long does it take for you to write a song?
It depends. You know, like the other day, I sat down, I wrote a song in an hour, but I've started writing a song at the age of 17 and then came back to it a year later and finished it over the course of a year, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then sometimes it's 10 minutes and I'm like, oh, okay, guess that needed to come out of me. Like,
Does it ever come to you in a dream?
it has before, but typically when music comes to me in a dream, it's really incoherent and terrible. I wake up and I record it and I'm like, and then I listen to it the next morning and I'm
Yeah.
like, what is this?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good. Very rarely though. My roommate and I, it's so funny. There's this clip on my phone because I mean, like any musician gets it. Like sometimes you get an idea and you're just like walking around and you're like have your voice memos up like, okay, this lyric and do this kind of beat. I did that in the middle of the night when we were trying to sleep one time and she woke up to it and she was like, Miranda, what are you doing? Because I'm like mimicking this like guitar solo. I'm like into my phone.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, what is going on? So typically when it comes to me in a dream, it's not the best work.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, with your performing and everything like that, I also wanted to ask, do you have any specific genres or anything like that that you prefer to play or that you just really enjoy playing?
You know, something about me is I love to play all types of genres, because if I'm ever performing, like I said, want to make sure that I'm pleasing at least one person in that room. So
Especially with a 3-hour set.
Yes.
Yeah, 33
Lots of room
songs.
for that, you
Yeah.
know. So I jump around. Like, I'll play some 60s. I'll play something that just got released a week ago. And I'll also play, like, you know, pop and then jazz and then rock. I love singing rock music, but I also love singing, like, R&B and jazz and blues. So that's something I love to mess around with, is just versatility.
And I think that can be shown too. It's been mentioned before, but just listening through Black Eyeliner, I think like everything that you just mentioned is also something that you can hear through your own voice through the album, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's looking like our promotions head, Charlie, is getting ready because she has a question for you as well.
Oh, really?
Over in the booth.
Hey guys, I do have a question. So, we've talked a lot about things that you're interested in adding into your music or genres that you might want to branch out into. What's a genre you would never, ever branch out into?
Trap rap. I've written some fast verses. Len Rose, you'll hear a couple rap verses. It's fun. It's fun. But trap rap? Couldn't do that.
That was a crazy quick answer to that too.
Yeah.
That was a confident one.
I'm thinking in my head,
fair.
I'm like, bluegrass? No, I like bluegrass. I'm like, metal? No, I like metal. Trap rap.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Fair.
I don't know if it fits my vibe. I don't know. I could try.
It'll
yeah.
new release
Hey.
on Len Rose.
Yeah,
just so it's not under the
experimental,
original
guys.
one.
Experimental.
Right. Yes. Well, that was a perfect amount of time to transition into our technical director, who also has a question for you in the booth.
Back to the booth.
I think I'm just getting good at transitions.
Yeah.
I can get into a seat fast now.
We've trained.
Yeah, many hours in the booth. So as a songwriter, you've written a lot of songs. What is like your favorite thing to write about specifically?
I love a good story, a good made-up story. There's a track on Len Rose, actually. This was the first time I did this, called Hellbound. I don't know what that's about. It's this random story I created in my head. It's so fun to just think of a situation and write a story about it. I have a friend, he just told me the other day, he was like, yeah, I just wrote a song about not making it to the day of my wedding. I'm like, you're 18 years old? Like, that's crazy. As you should. Like, it's so cool because obviously I love writing about experiences. It's a great outlet. But it's so interesting to be able to use your creativity in 3 different ways, writing a song about something that never happened. It's a story. So probably that. Yeah.
It's interesting. I like listening to those songs too. I feel like it doesn't happen that often. There's this one, I used to really be into Lizzie McAlpine. I haven't listened to her music in a little while. Angelina is a song that's all about a story, and I remember just always loving that song of hers. She has so much released too, so yeah. Anyways.
Well, do you have any upcoming shows, merch, music, or anything else that you would like to share with us?
Well, if you go to my social media, Miranda Wilcox Music, Facebook
Follow
and
it.
Instagram.
Yes.
Follow it.
Follow.
Like all the stuff.
In the
share
description.
Share with
Yes.
your friends.
I always have my schedule posted there. By the time this is up on the February 21st, I am at Chautauqua Suites in Mayville. That's a really cute place, so check that out. And then for my March schedule, that'll be coming out at the end of this month, and stay tuned for that. You can take a look at that. And like I said, I'm in the Western New York area a lot, so you'll definitely be able to catch one if you'd like to. As far as music, I'm working on stuff. Like I said, I want to delve into jazz and blues more, so I'm kind of looking at a jazz or blues album coming up soon.
Nice.
But I have no set date yet, so that's something I'm taking a look at. If you ever are in need of live music, I love to play anything for any occasion. So hit me up on any of those platforms, and I'd love to.
And that concludes another episode of the Local Lowdown. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having
Your
me.
whole set was so
Yes.
cool.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
If people have watched this all the way through, rewind it back, rewatch the set again, and then do it again.
Yeah.
And then do it again and like do some laundry while you're like listening. But
Yeah.
just go back to it, please. So
Yeah. And while we're at it, Thank you for listening to the Local Lowdown on WCVF 88.9 The Voice and WDVL 89.5 The Inferno. We will catch you next week. Same time.
Same place.
Bye.
Well, I'm alone, at least I'm not still with you.